We got a seasoned veteran here today.
Is that what I
Right?
am?
Yes, yes. Is it Ponderbox?
Ponderbox,
How did
yeah.
that even come about?
Chat GPT gave me
Really?
the idea. I wanted just Ponder, the Pondercast, but that was taken. So yeah, Ponderbox.
Why was it Ponder?
Because I feel like that's what we do. We just kind of like have random conversations and like ponder
Like
things.
this?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, Chat GPT gave me the idea, a couple different ideas. And so yeah, I went with Ponderbox. So the idea is the guests that I have on my podcast have no idea what they're doing until they get to the podcast. And so there's a riddle of some sort that I have in a box that I give them
Wow.
where they have to figure out what we're doing.
Oh, I
So,
love it. It's
so
like
yeah,
a escape the room
yeah,
deal.
yeah. So there's a lot of behind the scenes planning and prepping, but it's fun.
How often do you do them?
Once a month.
Okay, because there's a
Hmm.
lot of prep that
Yeah,
goes into that.
yeah, yeah. Like I want to do cold plunging. I want to do hiking. I want to do like tennis, pickleball. Like there's a lot of things I want to do with the guests that come on. So yeah, there's a lot of
Wait, so
planning.
you'll bring a guest in and then say we're gonna go cold plunge?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have a cold plunge at your studio?
I have a cold plunge in my house.
And the studio is
Well, I use Justin Godsey, so he has his own studio.
mhm.
But that's something that I would probably, there's a local community out in Mesa, so I would probably have us do the cold plunge at their facility because then it's highlighting a local business while
Yeah.
also, yeah.
I've noticed,
So,
so I went through there, I noticed a lot were businesses. Was
mm-hmm.
that part of the thing too of business development,
Yep.
right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna help the small businesses get
Yep.
word out there for them.
Yep.
In turn, it's getting business out there or word out there for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like most business owners just have a really hard time getting in front of the camera, and then also it's difficult to have our personality come across, right? So I'm giving these local business owners the platform to show us a different side of themselves that maybe they aren't comfortable sharing on their own.
Mhm.
So just asking random questions and
Yeah.
all of those
Well,
things.
it's more natural, right? They think
Right,
about camera. Okay, it's going to be scripted. I don't know what
right,
to say. How am I going to look?
right.
Right? Or you can give them
Yeah,
a platform to be themselves,
yeah, exactly.
and then people connect with them. That's
Yeah, and
good.
make them really uncomfortable because most people don't do well with not knowing.
Well, yeah,
How can I
I
prep?
agree.
What do I need to? I mean, I'll tell them like what they need to wear.
Mhm.
Like, is it business casual or is it going to be more like athletic wear? At least I give them that, you know?
And that's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like one of the podcasts we did it at Candle Chemistry. So I just found like an undisclosed address that was nearby because obviously if I give them the actual address, then they'll know what we're doing.
Yep.
So there's a lot that goes into it.
That is
But
cool. I really like
yeah,
that. I'm gonna
it's
have to
fun.
step up my game
Yeah,
here.
it's fun.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
definitely my creative outlet in my business.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Well, and we'll turn back to your business.
mm-hmm,
But what I like is most businesses, like business owners, are good with what they do.
mm-hmm,
Like I stumbled into martial arts, and the guy I stumbled into was not only good at martial arts, but he was good at business. So he's one of the only full-time schools in Arizona.
okay,
Most martial artists are good at martial arts, good at teaching, but not good at the marketing,
right,
right? Or the
right,
chiropractor,
right.
really good at adjusting,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
really not good at running a business, running a
right.
team, hiring people, and scaling to have a
Mm-hmm,
business. They're just
mm-hmm,
great at adjusting,
right.
great at making people feel better,
Yeah,
healing people, right?
right,
So that would help them, right? Because they're not great at marketing.
right.
So, hey, let me get
Exactly.
you some exposure.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, obviously, you're mainly real estate.
Yes.
This just is the fun aspect of it, right? That
Exactly.
outlet for you
Yeah.
that helps the real
Mm-hmm.
estate. How did you even get into real estate?
COVID. So at the time I was in pharmaceutical sales. I had been in pharmaceutical sales for 12 years and loved my job, but hated it at the same time. If I look back at my career in that industry, it was every 2 years. I'm bored. What do I need to do? I need a challenge. Is it a different territory? Is it a different drug? Like just constantly feeling like, okay, I've done what I need to do here. Now what else? And so real estate was always kind of in the back of my mind. And I'll be perfectly honest, like what I thought real estate was is not what it actually is. So there's that. But
Well, you can go deeper on
yeah,
that
yeah, we can.
because that is common,
Yeah.
right?
But so And yeah, we'll go into that. But so then during COVID, I was like, this is perfect. Because at that point, all of the reps were pulled to work from home, which meant we weren't working, let's be honest. And so it gave me the perfect opportunity to do the online school at that time for the real estate credit and then also work
Wow.
the pharma job. So
Okay.
got licensed in November of 2021 and started full time in real estate February of 2022.
Okay. So what
So,
gave you that thing of you're in pharmaceutical, and I understand like,
mhm.
this really isn't for me, but what made you think I'm going to do real estate versus anything else that you could have chosen?
I think for me at that time, it was just, I want to work for myself. And my personal real estate agent at the time was like, you should do this. You would be amazing. And
Oh.
so she had offered her mentorship at that time. So
Oh, that's
I was just
cool.
more of the mindset like, well, I'm going to try it out. If I don't
Yeah,
like it,
she opened the door and
yeah,
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 okay.
exactly.
All right. So let's go to what you thought it was to what it
Yeah.
really is. What'd you think it was?
Well, it's funny. I was actually just talking about this at lunch. Even if I look at like my marketing from the beginning to what is now, like it's completely evolved. I don't know that I went into this industry thinking it was going to be easy. I think a lot of people do come into that thinking that it's going to be easy. I think what surprised me about what I do and what I love so much about my job is the community aspect. It's such a big part of my business
Mm.
and such a big part of my life and my personal passion. So that's been really surprising to me to be able to bring my passions into my business and incorporate that in
So you mean the
everything I
outside
do.
community, like the business community, the businesses, things like that?
Yeah, and I mean, I've even built small communities myself, and with the intention of creating some type of container where I can bring people together where they can have authentic connection, which ultimately builds my referral business,
Hmm.
but also satisfies that piece in me of that need for that community and
I love
building
that.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the evolution of marketing look like? 'Cause I love marketing. I think that when you're
Yeah.
good at sales
Uh-huh.
already, then it's literally now the game is how do I market to bring people into my ecosystem
Mhm.
so we can transact,
Mhm.
right? And without the marketing, there's no sales to even happen.
Right.
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 So what was the original marketing and even like that you were taught from your mentor that you
Yeah.
picked up along the, because look, sales is, you were already doing sales before,
Right.
literally door to door.
Right.
Were you
Yeah.
going into the doctor's offices? Hey, use my stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you were already in I got to cold call this person. I got
Right.
to nurture that
Right.
relationship, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Now you just have a new product that's more expensive
Yeah.
and better for
Right.
people.
Yeah.
But then there's the marketing to get people there. So what was the
Mhm.
initial marketing that you were doing?
Just your blatant hire me if you're looking to buy or sell. Like that was literally what I came out with. Like pictures of houses on my Instagram. I mean, they're all still there.
Mm-hmm.
So pictures of houses on my Instagram or pictures of me, and of course at the bottom, if you're ever looking to buy or sell, call me.
I'm never too busy for a referral.
Yeah, I don't think I ever said that, but I probably should have at some point. Um, and so now it's evolved. I hardly ever post about how like an actual stagnant post. It's never about real estate. It's always some kind of like personal message or something that came through during meditation or like on my walk. Um, of course, I have my listing videos, but even those I've changed. I don't even want to be in my listing videos anymore. It's not about me, it's about the house.
Hmm.
Where before it was like these listing videos are a way for people to see me. No, it's not about me. Most of my real estate conversations happen on my stories because I
Really?
feel like
Because they're connecting with you personally.
I've already connected with them. They already know me. That feels more authentic to me than just posting some blurb, some content on a stagnant
Yeah.
post. Because again, if you look at my model, it's get the people together, build connection. Real estate's the byproduct of that.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Well, people see that they're, I don't know. I say you're transparent, right? So like, this is me.
right.
And when you vibrate at that frequency and
Yeah.
you're going to attract those like attracts
Right.
like,
Right.
right? And the
Right.
other people won't,
Right.
which is great.
Yeah.
Because now the people that do engage with your story
Right.
are the ones that reach out and want to get into your container.
Right.
They're the ones that will transact with you in the future.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And become like a big referral source, right? Like
Right.
they know, like, and trust me because I'm very vulnerable and share a lot of aspects of my life through my stories. And they become my biggest supporter because So yeah, it's
because in your community.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you talk about that, is that going to be continuing on that? Is there a next level evolution to that? Where do you see it going?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, yeah, so last year between client events and community events and HOA events, because I last year really strategized and said, okay, what are my areas that I'm farming? How can I leverage my events from a cost perspective and also reach perspective? And so I partnered up with the event coordinators with those HOAs and basically said, okay, what events do you have and how can I add to these events? So last year we did 17 events.
Wow.
It was a lot. And towards the end of the year, I recognized that I wasn't loving them as much. And that's the beautiful thing about what we get to do. We get to pivot when we don't want to do them anymore. So this year, it's all about really focusing on the community aspect of it. For example, right now we're working on a big event. It's going to be a 6-hour event. I invite real estate agents, I invite people from the industry, my clients, local businesses, my whole sphere. And it's all about learning your human design and how to implement your personality, your strengths, your weaknesses into your life and into your business.
Who's facilitating that?
I have a facilitator. She
Okay.
specializes in human design. So she'll be running it. I'll be alongside her. My role would be more of the business tactile application, life application, and then hers is just education of the human design in general. And then from there, we're looking to build out a community from this initial class of like minded people who want to grow and build connection.
So very much like a workshop.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
you're gonna
you
be
could call
working
that.
on you.
Yeah.
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 And then living a life by
Which is
design.
exactly, which is very much in line with me and who I am. And so I get to share this passion of mine. And
Mhm.
a lot of people aren't familiar with human design. So be able to introduce them to that and then give them tactile information where they can apply it to their life. And so yeah,
I
that's
like that.
exciting. So
I
it'll be
like it.
more things like that,
Yeah. Do you think because of the seven, it was the number of the seven, like the 17 was just a bigger number, so it was kind of like diluted and almost like couldn't really engage that much, or was it the content of the 17? Like I just wasn't vibing with some of those things. I was just doing them to do them.
No, it's definitely was intention. And our follow up game was, I mean, even our promoting and then our follow up, it was, of course, we're limited on any kind of giveaway. So leveraging my partners, having a giveaway, capturing name, address, birthday, like all of the things,
Hmm.
sending them a handwritten thank you note. Of course, had my videographer there. So we would send them a follow up email, highlight, did literally everything. I think for me, it just came back to like, these are not my people. Maybe some of them are my people,
Yep.
but we'd be at the events and like people don't say thank you when they walk away or like they don't even talk to us. And it's like, I felt a little frustrated with that because again, my intention is to give back, so I'm not really tied to like the outcome. But in those moments, I'm like, these are not my people.
Right.
It's hard to put an ROI on that as well because that's just more like brand recognition, right?
Exactly.
And I couldn't really tie any business back to those events. And having done it consistently for 2 years, then it was like, okay, gave it my best shot,
Yeah.
and now we're gonna pivot.
I like the community
So
stuff that's more in alignment with you because
right,
now you'll get the people that are more
they
in
can
your for your
appreciate it.
community. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You'll attract that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, I mean, we met a long time ago, and I've
yeah.
seen this change and iteration happen. Like, when was the point of, hey, I'm going down this journey of like myself, like this by design, and
Mm-hmm.
because I've seen like now the meditation and
Mm-hmm.
the red light and the saunas, and like
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you might have been doing that before, and I just didn't know. And then
Mm-hmm.
obviously I see it in the story, so now
Right.
I now resonate with that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when did that happen, and what's kind of like where's that going?
Yeah. Well, I feel like I've always been the type of person to just be the seeker of understanding myself on a deeper level. But I would say being an entrepreneur like catapulted that.
Really?
And so that's another unexpected part of what I'm doing. I think our industry specifically can take a toll on us. There's a lot outside of our control. So for me, I'm such an optimistic person, such a silver lining person. Um, and so in those moments, it was just, okay, how can I wrap my head around what I can control? Rates I can't control, if a client cancels a transaction, can't control that, right? But like what I can control, I want to focus on that. And then just getting a better understanding of why I think the way that I think and challenging that. And so it's been an evolution for sure. And I would say that probably the last year and a half really like dove into like the cold plunging and Reiki and sound baths and breath work and all of those things. So I have a whole morning routine. I don't ever put anything on my calendar before 10 a.m. Um, I shouldn't say ever, but it has to be something pretty special
Most of
because
the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that time is my time to just connect with myself and stay grounded and
What are some of the normal things you do most of the time in those mornings?
yeah, definitely meditation, journaling, reading. I love to read both fiction and nonfiction. So my morning reading is nonfiction because if I open up a fictional book, I just won't close it. Um, and then depending on if I'm going to the gym or cold plunge sauna, I have that set up in my garage. So one of those two things.
Nice. Do you
Hmm.
do guided meditation or you have your own?
Yeah, I like guided meditations.
I do too. I can't do
Hmm.
I'm going to breathe and
Yeah,
go for a while because then
right.
it's just, for me, it's just too difficult. And
Yeah,
maybe it's just because it hasn't been years of it.
yeah.
Like it's sporadic. Like I'll start and I'll stop and I'll start and I'll
Mhm.
stop.
Mhm.
So then I always go back to the guided because it's easier to stay with longer.
Yeah, and I like the visualization that the guided meditations can give me. So,
And then how do you do journaling? Is that like it's a blank piece of paper and it's whatever
mhm.
thoughts are coming, or are there questions that kind of spark the thoughts?
It's a blank piece of paper.
Always been that way?
Get in my head. What am I thinking? What came up yesterday? That kind of stuff.
Now, did you go to college? What was
Did.
your major?
Uh, bachelor's is in business management, master's is in accounting.
Okay, wow. So
Mhm.
wouldn't have thought of the like when I think accounting, I don't think creative, journaling,
No, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Meditating.
Yeah. I would say that that's also been something that I've kind of leaned into because I'm such an analytical, like black and white business driver, you know? And so to be able to give myself the space to be creative and let things flow has been really nice.
Yeah, fun to work on because
Yeah,
it's different,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So what got you into the medical sales? So let's go one step back.
Hmm. Yeah. So at that time, before I was in pharma, I was in the banking world.
Oh,
So
okay, sweet.
yeah, so I worked for Bank One, then it was Chase,
Wow.
um, Wells Fargo, in all capacities. I started as a teller and then I worked my way up into management and then the banking world, had my Series 6 at some point throughout that time frame. And then went through my first divorce and I realized at that time like banking is not where I'm going to make the money I want to make and have always been in a sales capacity at some point and realized that's where the money is. And so at that point, I was just like, I'm going to do pharmaceutical sales. So, very hard industry to get into, but once you're in, you're in. So the interview process was rigorous, but it was a great career. I learned a lot. A lot of what I learned in pharma, like, definitely transferred into real estate, as you mentioned. Like, just where's the business? Where am I going to go get it? Every day is a new day. Like, you start at zero, you know, that kind of mentality. And then just having the ability and learning how to talk to different personalities and push them when I need to push them, back off when I need to back off, you know, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So,
Any stories on, you don't have to name the doctors, but any stories of stuff that happened where you're like, oh man, you'd never believe this happened?
gosh, nothing comes to mind. I will say that physicians are they're funny. So I called on pretty much every specialty. Neurologists were my favorite to call on because they're such like brain scientific direct people.
Oh,
Um, and I remember one of my first lunches because you know we would bring in lunch to talk to the physicians to get their time so we could get them to write our product, and it was like a best friend duo that decided that they were going to open up their own neurology practice, but they couldn't be further from the polar opposites. They were like reminding me of like a married couple. And so I'm back there in the lunchroom, like waiting for them to come back. And one of the neurologists, tiny little guy, probably like 5'1", So I already know like I'm up against something because I'm taller than he is. I'm here as a pharmaceutical rep. It's that fine line of like, I'm not a doctor, but I have this data and I'm here to prove to you that what you're doing is wrong and I need you to do this.
Ooh.
Like that's kind of the dynamic, right?
Yep.
So he comes in, ties nice and tight, shirt's nice and tight, again, very small, comes in, grabs his napkin and like sticks his napkin in his collar. And I'm just, we have to just pretend like this is a normal thing.
Yep.
Um, from that point on, I expected that. Like if he didn't do that, that would be unusual. I also had a physician talk to me the entire time with Kleenexes up his nose, hanging out because his nose was running. So that was also
I
interesting.
think that was like a nervous thing when he met women.
No, he just had a cold
Oh,
and
just that
he
day.
just came around the corner and I was like, oh, I'm not feeling so good today, huh?
Oh my
So the
gosh.
entire time I talked to him, he had the tissues hanging out of his
And you
nose.
just try to like, don't stare,
You
don't
just,
stare,
yeah,
don't
you just
stare, don't
gotta.
stare.
I have a pretty good poker face, so
Do you play?
no.
Right.
Mm-mm.
Just a good poker face.
Yeah, yeah, maybe I should with my free
Let's
time.
talk about more like the business, right? So we're
Mm-hmm.
in the business, we've migrated in this marketing. What's some stuff that you took from, and it sounds like the pharmaceutical industry, I mean, it so parallels in sales, right?
Yeah,
Are there some specific things that you took from there that help you with the real estate on the sales side?
I think it was just how to be creative, right?
Mm,
Because in the pharma world and even in our world, it's like the consumer is and the physicians getting hit by us all the time. So how am
really?
I going to be different?
So it's super competitive in the pharma world.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So how am I going to be different? What's my conversation going to be? How can I connect with that person on quicker than the other rep and on a deeper levels? Because at the end of the day, people want to do business with people they like. So I would even find physicians would tell me that my product was better, but they liked the rep better. So then it's like, okay. So just taking mental note, like, okay, what drink is he drinking all the time?
Mm,
Is it Mountain Dew? Okay, next week I'm coming in with a case of Mountain Dew.
yes.
Like those things, being able to just kind of pick up on some cues and get creative.
Yeah. Now, did you parallel, right? Do you have a CRM now that you
Yes.
store data? Did you do the same thing there too?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
when you know, like, oh, that client likes this, or those kids
Right.
do this,
Yep.
or whatever, you're putting
Mhm.
that in there.
Exactly.
Okay. Do you
Yeah.
have a rhythm of follow up? So now it's been, so this is 3 years now,
Mhm.
third year in the business.
Yep.
You've amassed the not only the people you transacted with, but the people that you now have in your different communities,
Yep.
right? So different conversations with them. Do you have a rhythm of follow up to stay connected other than from event to event? I have this, I like you say containers, right? So I have this container or pot of people
Mhm.
and I'm going to have an event with them in
Yeah.
6 months or something. Is there any communication between there with them? And then is that different than the rhythm or flow that you have for your past clients to stay in front of them?
Yeah, it's all kind of the same.
Okay.
It'll look different, but like the thought and approach is the same. Always get birthdays, their address, their email, send out birthday cards. If I, most of my people I follow on social media. So, like, if there's a death in the family or like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of
A
something else. Like,
celebration, like they
yeah,
had a
something that
baby or,
happened.
yep.
Yeah, then I'm sending them something.
Hmm.
Um, of course, we do an email newsletter, so they get that. But I'm also just really good at just being like, huh, I haven't talked to this person in a long time. Text them. Let's go meet for coffee or do you want to do lunch? I'm so much better like in
Oh,
person,
yeah.
And so that's where that to me, like if we talk about my money making activities, not only is it my follow ups to all my like online clients, but also staying in front of my clients. And
Hmm.
every single time it's a conversation. That's not my intent is never to go in to get business. It's genuinely to see how they are, see how their life has been going, like what do you need from me? And oftentimes because I'm always so forward about what I'm doing on my personal journey, it's a lot of conversations of like, "Hey, I saw you did breath work. I want to do that." So then it's like, "Well, go with me next time."
There you go.
So that's how I build that connection. And then almost every single time it's literally either in that conversation or shortly after, oh, I have a friend who wants to buy a house, or and
Yep.
so like I said, it's not my intention. My intention is to build connection and be a resource,
Yeah.
but that's just, again, the byproduct of it.
Well, it kind of intertwines, right? It's like speed to need,
Yeah.
right? So how do I
Right.
connect real fast to identify their
Right.
need to fill
Right.
it, but in a very purposeful,
Right.
intentional way,
Right.
right?
Right.
Where do you see your business going in the future?
Um,
More of the same, build team. I see so many
Definitely.
iterations of real estate, right? So
Well,
I
I
don't,
did the team thing. I did the team thing for a year, and
where you were on the team or you were the team?
no, I built the team.
Okay. How many agents did you have on your team?
At one point we had 10.
Wow.
Yeah,
Now they were independent agents or they were TCs, admin, showing
independent.
assistants. They
Yeah.
were on their own
Yep, they
under
were
you.
on their own under me.
Okay.
So looked to me to hold them accountable, and
Oh,
yeah, did that for a year and probably 6 months longer than I should have.
okay.
Just,
Why?
it just wasn't. I think for me, I've learned that I just don't have the patience for accountability. I think I have a really high standard for work ethic. And for me, when I see people's potential and their lack of drive or lack of ability to follow through, it just becomes like a frustration in my life. And it came down to like time, right? How much time am I spending on the team? I could just go sell 2 more houses and make the same amount of money.
Yep.
And so it's really challenging, I think, to build out a business, your own production, while also building a team.
Yeah.
And so I had that for a year and dissolved that. So now my team, so to speak, is my assistant. And then I have some showing partners that'll help me do some showings. And that's amazing.
I like that
I
model.
love that model.
Yeah. I like, and like, so with the core
Hmm.
coaching for realtors, we coach that model
Yeah.
of, have an admin, have the TC, have the
Hmm.
showing assistant,
Hmm.
at different levels of your production,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
But it's your production,
Right.
it's your business,
Yeah.
and you bring them on. And having
Right.
like a salaried showing assistant, like they're just on your payroll, they're an
Hmm.
employee, but hey,
Hmm.
show this house, hey, help me with this, help me with my event,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I like that. Is then the future like 3 year, 5 year? Is it no, same team, this volume's good for me?
Hmm.
Or is it no, I'll do the same model, but I'll expand another showing assistant. Maybe there's even a listing specialist. Like,
Hmm.
what's the
For me, it's definitely more production. Last year I did 24. This year, my goal is 40.
okay?
So we'll see how that goes.
What's going to
I
change?
invest, yeah, I invest into online leads. And
Interesting.
so, yeah, it is interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's
Um,
interesting because
yeah,
it's interesting. It's interesting because you're more
yep.
relation, right?
Hmm.
But I also I'm interested to hear because I think I know where it's going to go. But why do that?
Yeah, so I actually started the online leads for my team because
That makes sense.
that made sense, right? And then it got to the point where, again, they weren't working them. So I was like, well, I'll just pull them. And then I started to feel the shift in my personal business. So I was like, perfect. Here's another bucket in my business. And I actually really enjoy it. I've met some incredible clients through my online funnel. And um, it's really the only tangible thing in my business, right? Like I can go and have a conversation, but it's like, what did I get from that, right? So what the online leads do for me is how many conversations have I had? How many calls did I make? How many appointments did I make? That for me, it, I'm so competitive that it's
So you keep a scoreboard.
exactly,
Yeah.
right? So it's like that to me feels very tangible in my business and something that I could be like, okay, I'm going to spend this many hours a day making these calls. I've moved my business forward because
Mm.
of that. So,
I often say like like online is transactional. I'm instantly a commodity to whoever's on the other end,
mhm,
right?
yep,
But when I see that from you, that speed to need, speed to connection can be your superpower
right,
online,
right.
right? And I say, how do you move people from online to offline?
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to, you get them on the phone
Yeah.
or you get them to your social.
Mm-hmm.
Because now that's like social can be your filter
Oh, for
in a
sure.
way, right? Like,
Yeah.
hey, check me out
Yeah.
online. I'm a real person. I'm not a
Yeah.
robot. I'm not AI. I'm a real
Right.
person.
Right.
Check me out.
Yeah.
And then they see like, oh wow, she cold plunges, she meditates, she journals.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I resonate
Mm-hmm.
with that. Or I don't.
Right.
Oh, I don't like that kind of stuff. And then they
Yeah.
just move
Move
on
on to
and they
someone
don't.
else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is fine because
Yeah.
then there's less people to follow up on.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think that that's the game with online is being super stringent with your time,
Hmm.
but being very on purpose with I'm just playing the game.
Right.
So, and I'm controlling the controllables. I
Yeah.
control how many hours I'm on the phone.
Right.
I can control the amount of contacts I have,
Yeah.
right? I
Hmm.
can't control that they're picking up the phone,
Right.
but the more attempts I make, the
Hmm.
higher that conversion will ultimately be.
Right.
But it's to get them, like, get them to come to an event,
Yeah.
get them to see that you're doing events,
Right.
that eventually they're like, oh, I think I'm going to go this time,
Yeah.
right? And then
Yeah.
by the 10th event, they're like, they show up
Yeah.
and they logged in 9 months ago,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, it's a totally different conversation. I say with
Yeah.
my online leads, it's I'm as direct as I possibly can be. I want to qualify and disqualify them as quickly as possible so that I can move on to the next one. Of course, I'm not as hard on the phone. And I think some people look at it as like, I don't like to cold call. Well, first of all, it's not a cold call. They were on my website and they raised their hand. They gave me their information. But it's just a conversation. That's all that it is. Oh, okay, you're not interested. Okay, great.
They're
Like I'm
human
here if
too.
you need me, right? Like
Yeah.
that's just more or less my approach. And so it's definitely worked. I would say last year, well, it's not, I would say last year I closed 9 deals from my online source. And like I said, 8 of those are really great clients.
Awesome.
You know? So um
So the obvious question is what happened with the last one?
oh, we won't get into that, but
There's got to be a good story there, though, without naming names.
yeah, no, there definitely is a good story. He was definitely just one of those clients that was never satisfied. I ended up getting them their offer accepted. We were up against 5 other offers. We were not the best, but their offer got accepted, and it appraised for $85,000 more than what we were under contract for. Um,
This sounds good.
it sounds great. He was upset that I did not pick him up from the airport.
Oh.
I'm not doing that. I hadn't met him in person yet. So there's like that safety concern. Plus, I also had an inspection to do. So I said, just take an Uber to this Starbucks, gave him the address, and I'll pick you up from there on the way to the inspection. So he did not like that, and became very challenging after we closed. Happy through the entire thing, but then after we closed, continued to get emails and text messages from him. I ended up blocking him. So
Oh, wow.
yeah,
That's sad. Okay.
it's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Can't win them all.
No, no. But 8 out of 9 is a
Yeah,
really good
I like
number.
that number.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So how does that share that? Because there's a lot of people, that do go online. They're having
Hmm.
a hard time with the organic stuff. I'll go back to that because I think you do a good job on that. But you're doing well on the online stuff. So
Hmm.
what is your typical follow up? Is there some automations in there too? Is it now I make the first call, then it goes into automation? How does that flow start and go?
Yeah, so I use Sync. There's a built-in AI, so AI definitely hits them as well. I haven't decided if I love the AI. Sometimes he messes things up.
Does yours have a name?
Alex.
All right.
Yeah.
Sometimes Alex
Um,
messes up.
but sometimes people love Alex. So,
Does
uh,
Alex say he's an AI?
no.
Okay.
Mm-mm. And most people don't know that he's an AI.
They're that
So,
good these days.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
he does a good job. Um, and you're probably not going to like my answer, but I don't really have an approach. It's more or less like I'll look at the client. Okay, are they opening the emails? Have they responded to any text messages? Have they logged in? If it's yes to all of that, then I'm calling them.
Cool. Yeah, you do
If
have a process.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not consistent. It's just more of like a feeling like, oh, okay, I'm gonna call this person or I'm gonna text this person. Now, if it's someone that like I've consistently called, emailed AI and they're not responding, my text lately has been I've reached my gosh, I've tried to reach out to you a couple times and I haven't received a response. Where do we go from here?
I like it. The
And
takeaway. Yes. Yes.
and that is the one thing that I started doing probably a couple months ago that like instant
It's the psychology
response.
of it,
Yeah.
right? People don't like the takeaway.
Yeah.
Like, wait, wait, wait.
Hmm.
Yes.
So that's been really helpful. It could also be like they keep looking at this one house. So then I'll just send them a text with the MLS link like, hey, saw this property, thought of you. Let's go take a look at it.
Right.
I mean, they don't, so it's just
Yeah.
getting really creative with how am I going to get this person to
I had an
respond?
agent that would go and, you're already touring properties anyways, right?
Hmm.
So in his phone, he would tour property and then he
Hmm.
would save it in his vault of his phone, right? He'd just
Yeah.
save it in a little video
Hmm.
vault,
Hmm.
2 bedroom, 3 bathroom. And he had like 2 or 3 stacked up. And then when the lead would come in that he saw was looking at that house, it wasn't the
Yeah.
house, he'd say, oh, hey, I toured this one the other day. Check it out.
Love
And
that.
that way it was a text message with a video that
Yeah.
was personal to them.
Yeah.
They felt personal, but
Right.
really it
Of
was him just
course.
storing a property, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's all it is. I don't
Yeah.
know if the one you looked at is even available now because it's
Right.
such a crazy market
Right.
anyways, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want the response.
Yeah.
So
Just give me
whether it's
something. Yeah.
so whether it's
Yeah.
the video or the takeaway,
Yeah.
but I like that. But you still have a process, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
like,
Oh
hey,
yeah.
the bot's picking them up.
Yeah.
Alex is doing a great
Yeah.
job,
Mm-hmm.
But some sit back and just wait for the appointment. Like
Oh yeah.
wait for
There's not
I'm
that
ready
one.
for you to call me now,
Yeah.
or wait for the call in. And I'm
Yeah.
like, man, you guys are spending good money on these
Yeah.
leads.
Because I mean, I don't know the statistic, maybe you do, but like they've registered on my website. I guarantee they've registered on like 4 other
Oh
websites,
yeah.
And I'll even have some clients that are like, "Oh, you got this. I got this email from you," and they'll screenshot it, and it's like someone else's, and I'm just like, "Okay, I'll let you think that that came from me."
Right.
But it just confirms that like they're clicking, they're registering, they're looking. We're not the only one.
Yes.
So how are we going to be different and what's our approach going to be?
Which is the
So,
same thing you were thinking when you're going to the physician's office and you're
exactly.
like, man, they're using that other rep again.
Yep.
And how do
Yep.
I beat her out? I'm
Yeah.
bringing the case of Mountain Dew.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Now, going back, because I like that you at least are getting success there. You have a process there. And it's the
mhm.
same mindset of, I'm human, they're human. How do we just build a connection really
Right.
quick? And if
Right.
it's not, then no worries. If
Yep.
it is, great. Now we come
Mhm.
offline and get you a place.
Right.
And that's good success for online. The organic stuff,
Mhm.
right? So is it mainly through the events and the nurturing of your own database? Are there any other ways that you're trying to generate your own organic
Mhm.
referrals?
Definitely social media is a big part of what I do. I could get better at being proactive with the social part.
What would that look like?
Me looking for people, finding a commonality, being the initiator of the conversation.
Okay.
I could get more intentional with that. I'm more like do and attract and people will come to me, but so that's something I could add in.
You're kind of doing that though, right? Because you're going after the businesses to then interview them and get them exposure.
Yeah, for sure. But if I'm looking at like my engagement with new people that come to my page
Mm.
or that kind of stuff,
Yep.
that's an area I could get better at.
Do you,
So,
when people do comment and stuff like that, I'm assuming not stories, because that comes through like a DM, so it's a
yeah.
message, but do
Uh,
you go through your comments?
oh yeah, I'll
Yeah.
respond to my comments unless they need to be deleted. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'll respond to that. And the algorithm likes that, even if they're messaging me through a story, right? Like I am very responsive in that because once the algorithm sees that we're talking, like of course my information and posts are going to get pushed to them anyways.
Yep.
Um, but no, I'm just saying like I could look at hashtags. Like for example, I could look at the eSmart hashtag and find like
Mm.
homeowners out there and then maybe they have 2 boxers and I can be like, "Oh my gosh, I have 2 boxers." That
Yes.
kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
that's deep.
Yeah, I could do a better job with that. It's just time.
Would you
Right?
do that, or would you ask your admin to do the research and then you reach out like an Alex, like, hey, I need you to go
Yeah.
through and look for the eSmart hashtag and see if anyone are
Yeah.
dog owners, see if
Yeah.
anyone likes yoga,
Uh-huh.
cold plunge, like who's
Yeah.
doing eSmart and cold plunge in the
Yeah.
same boat, right? Like, you know,
Yeah. No, I could definitely have her do that. I get asked all the time, like, do you do your own social media or why don't you hire it out? And my answer is like, because that's me. And I feel
Mhm.
like if anybody were to run my social media, then it becomes not authentic. And you can tell that right away.
Yeah, I mean, I have the postings. I have so many posts
Mhm.
that go out
Yeah.
to various people, but I do like all stories are mine, all comments are mine, all
Yeah.
replies are
Yeah.
mine, all replies to comments, not just the DMs are
Mhm.
mine. I can't
Mhm.
do the auto
Yeah.
stuff. The only automations are like using like the Manny chat
Oh,
feature. Do you
yeah.
use that?
Yeah. That's
Do you
new.
use that too
I just
with,
started using that.
well, how do you use it?
So with the podcast, we're trying to push everybody to YouTube. That's just what Justin says. Um, so yeah, just coming up with like a code word, and then it'll push them
Yeah, hey,
the
DM
link.
this
Yeah.
and go to there.
Mhm.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. Have you ever tried anything, or maybe this is something you could do, or maybe you do it with your internet leads, but like a lead magnet, like, hey, you know, on sync, I could say, hey, here's my 6 things to do before you even apply for a mortgage.
Mhm.
Here's the 5 things to do before you even list your house. Like you're
Mhm.
giving them information before you even talk to them. So it's a lead magnet, right? I'm giving it to them.
Yeah. No, we don't do that.
You could do that on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
You can say, hey, if you want to get my home buyer playbook,
Mhm.
DM playbook,
Yeah.
comment
Yeah.
playbook, and
Yeah.
then but rather than me going, oh, let
And
me
then
go to
sending
Google
them the
Drive, cut
link.
and right?
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
ManyChat will just go and
Send
see
them
the
the
word
drive.
and go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't used it for that.
That's something to think
But that is
about,
something to
right?
think
Because
about.
it's
Yeah,
just
because
kind
we
of
have
where
the
we're going
time.
with the
Yeah.
marketing stuff,
Yeah.
right?
It's a good idea.
When you think about going, say, on social media, so let's just say on Instagram, is that the primary?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Same. What's some of the things that you've noticed that Instagram likes that you see, like you said earlier, like how the algorithm likes that? Like, what's some of the
Hmm.
other things besides the, hey, I'm going to reply to the DMs, I'm going to reply to the comments, I'm going to be engage the
Hmm.
people.
Hmm.
What else have you seen works?
I think that what works best for like performance wise on my page, which I don't really try to get wrapped up in that too much. I'm like, if this feels good
Yeah,
and
just
I
what are you
enjoy
seeing?
doing it,
Yeah.
then I'll do it. I don't worry about when I'm posting. If I think about posting and I want to post, then I'll post. So I try not to like get too wrapped up in that. But the things that perform the most on my page are my like genuine, like heartfelt posts about my own personal journey or like a suggestion or like a thought that popped in. Like,
On you face on camera or you?
no, like my actual post.
Okay.
As far as my Instagram stories, I would say um anything that like love that I share, people are all about that. Like I get people all the time. They're like, anything you say you love, I'm gonna buy.
Oh my
So,
gosh. You need an
so
affiliate
I
link.
know, right? Um,
Shopify account coming soon.
so that's, I mean, that to me is like, oh, well, then I guess I better be really careful about what I'm saying I love, right? But that always does really well. And then any stories that I share, like real estate related, that's where I'll share those stories. Or like on the Instagram stories for sure.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously with the podcast, we try to move people over to the YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
right? Are you doing anything with YouTube Shorts or
No,
not yet?
no. It's definitely on my list of things to do this year. Especially with the podcast that we're pushing out. Again, my videographer is like YouTube is where it's at right now. So um definitely strategizing on what that looks like with him. But I have posted shorts. Like I've taken like clips that we have and I'll post it as a reel and then I'll pop over to YouTube and post it as a short. I just don't think it's the right format. I don't think a reel translates the same as like a YouTube short.
Right.
Maybe I'm wrong. It just doesn't feel like that's what needs to go on there.
I just think like it's just like a different, I don't know, it's a different conversation,
Yeah.
right? So I go to the Italian restaurant versus the Chinese restaurant. I go to LinkedIn versus
Yeah.
TikTok versus Instagram.
Right.
It's just different.
Yeah.
I can't take, now I'm guilty of it though. I take the same video that I'm posting on Instagram, it's on TikTok.
Yeah.
I get that. It's just,
Mhm.
and it can't be shared through. It's got to be organically
Right.
delivered to that.
Right.
But going to YouTube, like they're all in competition with each other,
Yeah.
right? Which is good.
Hmm.
But I think that on YouTube, you still have to be organically there, but the messaging is just different,
Different.
right?
Yeah.
And I think it's the short stuff because,
Right.
especially if it's going in shorts, but you
Yeah.
know, if it's mainly for small businesses and driving to the podcast, then that's what that content needs to be around, not
Mhm.
me doing a short video of going into a house or
Right.
hosting an open house.
Right.
It's me getting ready for the interview.
Yeah.
It's the
Exactly.
behind the
Yeah.
scenes.
Yeah.
It's the like we're in the age of voyeurism,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which
Mm-hmm.
is like, you know, like the housewife shows
Yeah.
and, you know, any of those types of media, bachelorette, like
Yeah.
people just want to watch stuff happening, but they
In
want to
real
see it.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. And just
Like
like
the
your,
vlog style, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And just like, you know, your home tours, like
Right.
they want to see you walking through, but you want
Right.
to see you opening the fridge and
Right.
opening the thing and,
Yeah.
you know, but they also want to see people in there. So if
Right.
you even had like a small group of people that were mingling at the island, you're highlighting the island, but they really wanted to see was the people, what outfits are they
Experience.
wearing?
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to
Yeah.
feel like there's an
Yeah.
experience that they're in
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah.
Just like some of the videos, there's the face on video and then there's the
Mm-hmm.
side videos.
Right.
People stay a little longer for the side video
Yep.
because they feel like they're eavesdropping a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just a thing right now. Like the
Yeah.
algorithm's the algorithm.
Yep.
But right now, it's the reason why I say online to offline is like just like the last couple days, you've seen the legislation going through. Who knows if it'll finish? But if they totally ban TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
there's like 90,000 of my followers that are gone,
Yeah.
leads that are gone, content's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
So it could happen. But
Right.
if you have a built up email list, that's never going away.
Right.
You can always hit the list, hit the
Right.
list. I
Right.
can always pick up the phone and call people. So I
Right.
got to get them offline to get into my CRM, into my
Right.
phone,
100%.
to build a connection,
Yeah.
right?
No,
I
that's a
can't
good point.
rely on the social.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But while it's hot, you know, YouTube's the #1 search engine because it's owned by Google. So
Google.
people
Yeah.
go to YouTube and Google stuff.
Yeah.
because they're looking for the video.
Right.
Or they Google and then they click the video
That
button,
right,
which
because
takes
that
them to YouTube.
pops up first, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to go there.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's the messaging there has to be different than
Yeah.
the Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a different feel.
So you've mentioned stuff that's like, that's on the list. That, like, what else is on the list
Yeah.
of things that you're like, man, that's a project I'd really like to do? Like, if there was something that I said, hey, what's one project or two that you'd like to see you come to completion by the end of this year?
Yeah. There's two, and
Okay.
the big ones. I want to build out like a nationwide referral network with agents. I'm over an EXP now, so that just makes sense.
And what would that look like?
Me, maybe my assistant, tracking down one of the top performers in each city and saying, hey, we want to have this exclusive group of agents where we're all just feeding each other and referring to each other exclusively. But then also make it bigger than that, right? Like also have retreats and like breath work and sound baths and all of that,
Ooh,
right?
like
Where
it.
it's like we can get together and also build businesses and build that connection. That's a big project of mine this year.
Have you already started that?
No.
Okay. What's the next
when I
step?
moved over to EXP, my assistant didn't come with me. So I've been in task land and like survival mode and reactive.
Like didn't come with you on purpose or didn't come with you?
Yeah, didn't come with me.
Like
she chose not to,
she chose
but
not
she's
to.
coming back. Don't worry.
Okay,
She's
good.
coming back next week.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So, like
So
sometimes when people leave, they leave someone behind to finish up. Like, hey, take care of the
yeah,
clients, make sure it all closes,
yeah,
blah blah
no,
blah,
that
and then
wasn't
come
that
over.
was not the reason, but regardless, she's coming back, so that's all that matters. And then the other thing that I've had the thought about is trying to figure out, and I feel like I need to live in LinkedIn for this, which I'm not on LinkedIn at all, but is finding more established real estate agents who are wanting to retire, building connection with them so that I can now be their referral source as
Do you
they
think
get
that
out of.
LinkedIn's for like the old people?
I
The
guess
old about to
I did
retire?
just say that, yeah. But yes.
That's awesome.
Or Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in a chronological order, right? It would be LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 It's a thing. It's
Yeah.
kind of like you look at your prospects, right? Because
Right.
your prospects are that Gen Z group is TikTok, kind of Instagram,
Yeah.
and the millennial is Instagram, kind of Facebook,
Right.
and then anything older than that
Yeah.
is Facebook, LinkedIn.
Facebook.
Yeah. But I would say the most qualified of your clients is on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Because that's where your doctors, right? Like
Yeah.
the I say professionals, but the most professionals are there because that's where they're looking for jobs, looking for employees.
Exactly.
They're there.
Yeah.
So you said you have zero, like you're not even, you have no LinkedIn account?
No, I definitely have one.
Okay. Is it branded like your LinkedIn? I mean, like your Instagram?
No.
Like the photo's the same, the contact info is the same?
No.
No.
I
So
need
it
to
needs
get
a,
on there.
it needs
Yeah,
a little, it needs your admin.
Needs a refresh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
again,
those are the two things. And then obviously like being over at EXP, I have no desire to have a team. None, zero, based on my experience. But it's like, how do I create a community, much like Kevin and Fred did, but my own community, so that I have this agent attraction where they can just plug in. And what does that look like? So
yeah. Well, in that project, so going to the nationwide thing, I love it. So I go nationwide, I'm looking in the area, but your thing is more like, it can't be I'm looking for the top person there. It's like, let's do the top 20 because I need to figure out who's in alignment with me.
Who's right?
Because they're not going on sound bath retreats if they're not into sound baths, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So I need to find people that resonate with your message. So that's interesting. I like that a lot. So let's say admin's here.
Yeah.
Right. They have bandwidth. What's the next couple steps to get that project underway?
Having her do the research for the agents. That's going to be my number one, because that referral source I think is really big. So doing the research on the agents, starting that conversation, and then setting up like a Google Meet for me to meet them online and talk about what that looks like.
And then is this going to be, you mentioned Kevin and Fred's group, so is this going to be, hey, I'm going to start a Facebook group, or am I going to start a WhatsApp group, or am I going to, like, where are you going to house your community?
It would definitely be Facebook.
Okay.
I mean, you can create Instagram groups, but you can't have like
It's not
documents
as
or
clunky.
anything. Yeah.
Or it's kind of
Yeah.
clunky.
Yeah. Or there's an app called Heartbeat. I've looked into.
haven't
You
heard of
can,
that.
you can build out communities and have documents and templates in there. So possibly I go that route. I need to mess with that one a little bit more, but Heartbeat it's like a Slack, but in my opinion, like 10 times better.
Have you looked at WhatsApp?
I do know WhatsApp. Yeah.
because that's a meta platform.
Yeah.
So you got
Mm-hmm.
you can have the people, the documents, the stuff. It
Mm-hmm.
can be groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heartbeat has I don't know if WhatsApp has like folders. So Heartbeat has like, here are the templates, here are the documents, here is a link. Like it's all just kind of like in
Mm.
different folders.
Okay, cool.
So yeah.
Nice.
So yeah.
Okay. I like that. I
Yeah.
like projects. Okay, cool. Um, so admin comes over. We're on this path here.
Hmm.
What are your next couple events that you're planning out?
The biggest one right now, the only one that we're planning is that human design. This is a big one.
When is it?
April 20th is what we're pushing for. We're
Here?
having a hard time finding space.
Oh, how big?
Um, we're hoping we get 30 people in. If we get 30 people in, we'll be
And you
happy.
need space. Like, is this going to be one like, hey,
Mm.
bring your mats. We're going to be meditating on the floor,
No.
or is this, hey, we're going to need round tables and we're going to be?
Yeah, we definitely need tables and a space to write, but I want it to have like soft lines. Like I don't want an office experience.
Mm, mm.
So, yeah, it's been a little challenging to find the right space, but we'll find it. We'll find
I know
it.
you will. I know
Yeah.
you will. I'm just as like my head starts going. Okay, what's those spaces like that?
Yeah.
Have you ever been? I'll have to send you the site, but there's like an Airbnb for space.
Pure space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been on there.
Okay. Nothing in there.
Nothing calling my name yet.
Mm, okay.
But
I'll have to ask one of my gals
okay.
at the title company because she's really good at that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
all right, cool.
Yeah. Send any options my way,
All right.
please.
Well, cool. This was fun. Thanks for coming in
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. Thanks for
Yeah, I
having me. I
appreciate it.
appreciate
It's
it.
kind of like yours where I did like there's no like you don't know where the conversation's gonna
Yeah.
go, but I like your structure better.
I'm all for it.